This is Jeamie TKV. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Okay, so in this video, I'm going to go through the three major promoters' stables for their heavyweights. Eddie Hearn via Matchroom and DAZN, Ben Shalom via Boxer and Sky Sports, Frank Warren via Queensbury and BT Sport. Now, I'm saying these three because obviously they've got the three major networks. Of course, there are other promoters that I do like and whatever else, like Salmons and so forth. Anyway, so I'm going to start off with Matchroom. I'll go through their stable, then Boxer, then Queensbury. Then, of course, I'll give you a bit of a review of each of the fights. Okay, so start off with Matchroom. They've got Fabio Wardley, Anthony Joshua, Dempsey McKean, Dillian Whyte, Filip Perkovic, Johnny Fisher, Justice Hooney, and Solomon Dakers. With Boxer, they've got Fraser Clarke, Jamie TKV, Stephen Robinson, Jack Massey, Hughie Fury, and Martin Bacoli. With Queensbury, Frank Warren, they've got Tyson Fury, Joe Joyce, Dan Dubois, David Adelaide, Zili Zhang, and Moses Atuma. Again, all of these I've taken them from their official websites, okay? Now, if we start off with Matchroom, okay, they've got the British heavyweight champion in Fabio Wardley, and they've got the English heavyweight champion in Solomon Dakers. So at the minute, domestically, they've got all the belts tied up, okay? Now, it's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward. Obviously, Fabio Wardley, he's going to be taking on Fraser Clarke. If that fight doesn't happen, and there is a possibility that fight isn't going to happen, even though the purse bid is on Wednesday, but if it doesn't happen with Fabio and Fraser Clarke, then I would fully expect Fabio Wardley versus Solomon Dakers for that British title. I would. Now, you could look at their stable and Matchroom and say, well, Fabio Wardley, Dillian Whyte, and Filip Perkovic, they're not officially Matchroom because they're not tied into a contract. They're all, well, Fabio and Dillian, they're free agents. So they can go on any network, really, that they choose. With Filip Perkovic, he's co-promoted by Matchroom and Wasserman. Wasserman, of course, are the Sowlers, Callan is Sowland. So, really, they've got Anthony Joshua, Dempsey McKean, Johnny Fisher, Justice Hooney, and Solomon Dakers. Of course, Anthony Joshua, two-time unified heavyweight world champion. Is he going to take an interim fight before the Deontay Wilder fight in December in Saudi Arabia? That's going to be interesting. And again, according to Eddie Hearn, if he does take an interim fight, Dillian Whyte is the front runner. But if Dillian Whyte is not going to be fighting Anthony Joshua, it's going to be interesting to see what Dillian Whyte does next. Will he continue with Matchroom? If he does, who's he going to fight? If not, is he going to jump ship to go to Boxer or Queensbury? We'll have to wait and see. Justice Hooney, of course, and Dempsey McKean, both Australians. Matchroom, DAZN, Eddie Hearn are looking to make big waves in Australia. It's always good to have heavyweights on your team, isn't it? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Dempsey McKean said to me that his date and opponent should be announced in due course. And of course, we can do another podcast with him to find out who it is and what it is that's going on. Justice Hooney, he's only, 7-0? So there's no great rush for him in that at the minute. But of course, Dempsey McKean, he wants a marquee name at some point. He does. He wants to start moving up. Now, Johnny Fisher, of course, he already has a fight there. That's already been officially announced. His opponent has not. I know who he's fighting next. I'm a little disappointed because I wanted Stephen Robinson to fight that guy. Not Johnny Fisher, but the guy that Johnny Fisher's going to be fighting. Okay, but hey, it is what it is. And looks like Johnny Fisher versus this other guy is going to fight for some version of a title. With Boxer, as I've already spoken about, Fraser Clarke and Fabio Wardley, that looks like that could well be happening. If not, Fraser Clarke, going to be interesting to see what he does next. It's going to be very interesting. Jamie TKV, I rate him, which I'll do with Fraser Clarke and that as well. Why not just have Fraser Clarke and Jamie TKV? They both want to fight each other. Why not? But Jamie TKV, he's been looking real good lately. His last win in Poland, devastating performance. Of course, he got the knockout. He's looking fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Jamie TKV going forward. Of course, he would love to get himself into that British title contention. He would. So hopefully in the next 3 or 4 fights, we'll start to see like some of these marquee names that could get him into that kind of position. With Stephen Robinson, he's had, well, I know of 3 offers. Okay, so just waiting on whoever comes in with a contract first and all that kind of good stuff, and obviously an official date. Real good fights, all of them. One of them, there's potentially a 4th one. I don't particularly like that fight, to be honest. But hey, it is what it is. We'll have to wait and see what route he decides to go down. Jack Massey, I think Jack Massey is more of okay, his last fight against Joseph Parker, that was a heavyweight, but he's been pretty much a career cruiserweight, hasn't he? And I think that his natural weight will be bridgerweight, so I wouldn't mind seeing Jack Massey going forward. Maybe go fight Alan Babbage or something like that. That'd be good. Hughie Fury, he's going to be fighting real soon. He's only going to be a few weeks away for that one. Again, official announcement when and where and against who will be announced in due course. Martin Bakole, he got a win in Poland recently, and of course before then in Tony Yoka. Martin Bakole, he has been calling out the wrong names, knowing full well that these fighters are already going to be fighting other people. We know what it is. It's all cloud chasing and profile boosting. So Martin Bakole, listen, I'd like to see Martin Bakole take on somebody good. Why not Joe Joyce? If Joe Joyce steps aside from the Zhang fight, why not? As far as Queensbury's concerned, Tyson Fury, WBC heavyweight world champion, looks like he could be fighting potentially Zhang in July, or is it July 22nd, I think it is. If not, maybe Andy Ruiz Jr. Let's wait and see, or he could just decide to wait, say, you know what, stuff it. Let's go fight Usyk for that mega money in Saudi Arabia in December. Joe Joyce, is he going to take the rematch, officially activate it with Zhang, or is he going to allow Zhang to go fight Tyson Fury? Is he going to allow people in his ear to convince him it's the right thing to do to step aside? Because if he steps aside, Zhang has to vacate that WBO mandatory position, and Joe Joyce is coming off a loss. Therefore, he can't fight for it, can he? So anyway, Dubois, he's going to be fighting Alexander Usyk as he's WBA regular world heavyweight champion and, of course, mandatory challenger. So we know what Dubois is going to be doing next. David Adelaide, he's been petitioning to fight Fabio Wardley for the British. I think he's probably like third in the line at the minute. But I'd like to see David Adelaide fight somebody who we know. That'd be good. I'd like to see David Adelaide take on Stephen Robinson. Out of this list here, for example, that we've been speaking about in this video, why not David Adelaide and Stephen Robinson? Maybe David Adelaide versus a Solomon Dakers or something like that. Zhang, of course, we've just spoken about. Moses Atuma, he's only 3-0. First two victories were first round knockouts, first few seconds to get a knockout. The third fight, he went distance. And he's been getting criticised for that. I mean, I don't know what it is that people want. He's supposed to get rounds in. That's how you learn. You learn by going the rounds. You do. So, big up to Moses Atuma. It's going to be interesting to see what he does next. I wouldn't match him with anybody that I've said on any of these lists at all. I really wouldn't. As I said, I'd like to see Stephen Robinson versus a David Adelaide. Outside of what I already know with like offers and that coming through. If they don't materialise, of course, there may be a David Adelaide fight. With Hughie Fury, I'd like to see him take on Martin Bakole. But I can't really see anybody for Moses Atuma, if I'm being honest. There's nobody really there. Maybe Justice Hooney? No, that's probably a bit early, isn't it? Anyway, so I think overall, just on paper, you have to say Queensbury, Frank Warren, BT Sport have the strongest heavyweight stable. The fact that they've got the WBC heavyweight champion Tyson Fury, WBO regular champion Dan Dubois, and WBO interim champion in Zhang. Joe Joyce, of course, could still be in that picture if he chooses to be so. So they've probably on paper got it, but at the same time, would a Joe Joyce, a Dan Dubois, or a Zhang, would they beat Anthony Joshua or Dillian Whyte? Would they? Would they beat Martin Bakole? Well, I suppose the only way to find out is to see the fights, aren't they? Anyway, I think overall, Queensbury on paper, they have the strongest heavyweight stable, if you like. Boxer, they have a stable of prospects, if you like, and fringe contenders. And of course, with Matchroom, they have a variety. They've got a couple of prospects. They've got like the mid and upper tier fighters as well, and of course the tops, a couple of the top tier fighters as well. So I think the three stables are looking very, very well. They are. They really are. So anyway, let's see if they can match any of them. Hopefully, every single one that I've mentioned here will be a little bit active this year. Let's see. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.